That works. Okay, I don't know why I just did that. Right, what are we doing? Oh yeah, hi. Welcome back to the channel. If you don't know, I'm obviously in different settings right now. I am at Shannon's flat because she's kindly invited me to do a collaboration. So we've got a video over on her channel, but over on my channel, we are basically reflecting on our seat and I guess reflecting on our first seat because we both started our training contract at a very similar time. You started in February. Yeah. I started in March. We are now moving into our next seats as well. So at the end of this video, do stay tuned for the length of this video because not only are we reflecting on our seats, we are also going to be revealing what our next seat will be. And yeah, it's exciting times for both of us.
It is.
I have not even introduced Shannon at all, which is so rude, but no, yeah, please introduce yourself.
So my name is Shannon, and if you guys don't know me, I'm also a trainee solicitor. I've got a YouTube channel of my own where I'm posting kind of vlogs and my tips and tricks if you are interested in starting a career in law, and I also kind of do the same on Instagram.
Yay! Okay, and you guys know who I am. I'm not that important. Shannon's the main star of the show today. Right, so let's start off with a background about your first seat.
So my first seat was in my firm's private client department, and in the team that I was in, we focus a lot on international tax issues. So that's what a lot of the work I did in my first seat focused around. I also got to do some more, I guess, traditional private client work, which is drafting your wills, dealing with probate, drafting LPAs, which are lasting power of attorneys. But the tax side was what I really, really enjoyed. Yeah, I get that reaction a lot. If any of you have done the LPC, you're probably like,
I hated private client. Like, you guys have already seen me wrinkling my face. I hated private client. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, so I'm one of the weird ones that enjoys tax and calculations. But yeah, so in the tax side of things, like I mentioned, we focused on international work and it was mainly advisory work. So what we would do is we would take instructions from our client, understand what advice they needed in relation to UK tax, and then we would usually either give advice in a meeting or we would prepare an advice note, which is kind of like a detailed report we can pass over to the client, setting out our advice. And another thing we did was we would help implement kind of tax planning work. So that may involve setting up a trust, so drafting up the deeds that are required for that and making sure that everything's done in the right order to achieve the required structuring that the client wants to put into place.
For those of you who aren't aware about what I've done for my last 6 months in the firm, I am in the construction disputes team, and I guess the name's a little bit misleading because albeit the name says construction disputes, I've done both transactional work and disputes work, but I'll talk about the dispute side first. So as the name suggests, construction disputes is when disputes arise in construction projects.
Surprising.
So there are different categories in which construction disputes can arise. For example, money issues, delays in the actual project, and also there being defects, for example, at the premises, and then the parties basically complaining about whose fault it was, essentially. So within that, it's been a lot of, I guess, drafting, a lot of attending meetings, doing attendance notes, researching areas of law as well, and drafting witness statements. Construction also has a specific ADR route. So ADR, for those of you who know, Alternative Dispute Resolution, it's a 28-day process in which the parties try to, I guess, resolve the dispute, and whatever the decision is made by the adjudicator, that's binding. So there's a lot of that involved as well, which is quite fast-paced, and I do like that aspect as well. What is on the transactional side is a little bit different. It's a lot more calmer. I think whenever I'm like writing letters on the dispute side, I'm a bit fiercer, a bit more like, we are disappointed. You know, you use language like that, whereas transactional, just happy, you know, all the parties are getting along, they're entering into an agreement, it's all wholesome and nice vibes. So yeah, I think transactional, like, is just entering into like some of the tasks that I do in transactional is a lot more, I guess, drafting agreements, contracts, reviewing collateral warranties, and I guess having an understanding about the different types of parties that you can get in a construction project is really useful. So you can get the contractor, the subcontractor, the employer, the consultants, and having an awareness about how the different contractual arrangements go is really important as well. So if you're interested in that side of law, I think that's really cool as well. But that's an overview of both of our seats, which is fantastic. Let's move on to the next part. So the next 2 points that we want to talk about is, I guess, more reflective. And I want to ask you, Shannon, first of all, what do you think went well in your first seat?
A lot of the things that went well, I would attribute to having previous paralegal experience. So that was just not being shy to ask questions or to raise issues that I might have found. I think when you're new to doing a task or even new to a certain practice area, you don't have that confidence at times. You know, you might have picked out an issue and be like, oh, I'm not sure if this is an issue or not. Should I bring it up? And I mean, the best thing to do is to bring it up. But I think if I didn't have that paralegal experience, I would have kind of oohed and ahed over, not oohed and ahed, but ummed and ahed over something. Not oohed and ahed, it's not something to be in awe of. But yeah, I think I would have delayed my decision making a lot more. Whereas I think having paralegal experience helped me think, right, like, you know, it's fine to bring up issues, it's fine to have questions. What I did well was whenever I had any questions, even though it wasn't about the task at hand, I would ask them anyway. So it might be about just something that popped into my head or something about the bigger picture of what the client is wanting. I made sure to ask questions to the people I was working with, and that helped me learn a lot more and helped me learn a lot faster. And I think it also really helped demonstrate to my colleagues that I had a genuine interest in this area and that I was willing to learn. And I think by demonstrating that, it meant that my team trusted me a bit more and were more willing to let me have a go at tasks that were maybe more involved or more substantial.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the clue's in the name, right? It's a training contract, that you're not a qualified solicitor yet, so you are entitled to ask questions. And it's really interesting you say that, because for me, in my feedback during my mid-seat review, so mid-seat is 3 months into your training contract. I'm not sure whether your firm did this as well, but yeah, we had a bit of a review process halfway through the seat as well. And one thing that I was given, I guess, an objective for the next 3 months in my seat was to ask more questions for the exact same reason. And I guess I was quite shy to ask questions. Sometimes I didn't have a question, I didn't know what to ask. So what I did was I actually went to meetings, or say if we had training, they would tell us what the topic of training was, and I'd actually prepare questions before I'd even went to the training session itself, just so I'd have something in hand to ask. One thing that I personally felt like went really well in my seat was my enthusiasm and my proactivity. I really went out of my way to reach out to colleagues, not even in my team, but outside of the wider team as well. This then allowed me to get involved in the socials with my firm. It got me involved in pro bono, for example, albeit my team is more disputes focused in London. If I didn't reach out to individuals, I wouldn't have gotten that transactional experience as well.
Yeah, I think it's really important to express your interests and where you want to gain more experience. So there were certain areas of work that I was really keen to be able to gain some experience in, and I made it very clear to my team and my supervisor.
Fantastic. Right, so let's now move on to something that you found challenging in your first seat.
Yeah, so something I found really challenging was adapting to the pace of work in the team. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the work I did was advisory work. It involved a lot of very detailed research, kind of looking at legislation, looking at commentary to try find an answer of what the tax position would be. It involved a lot of drafting a long report that you might be working on for a very long time, and I think I found it quite difficult to focus at times just because I'd been doing something for so long, and it can be quite dry at times. So that was something I found difficult. The other thing I found difficult was my work environment. I think something we'll always remember about our training contracts is we had to start completely virtually. I didn't get to go into my office until the very last month of this seat, and I think starting it from home was challenging. And the thing I found the most difficult was, and I think it links back to the first thing I found difficult, is when I'm fatigued from doing something for a long time or focusing on something, then I'm kind of in an environment where I'm at home, I get distracted easily. And what I've started doing now is I'm going in as much as I can, because I feel like the environment means there's less distractions if I'm in the office. I think this is something a lot of trainees experience, but linked to finding it difficult to focus and working on a task for a long time is maintaining your attention to detail. And I think something I need to do a bit more is take more breaks in between my work and checking things.
I think that's one that I definitely relate to with the whole working from home aspect. Distractions are everywhere. I can literally just put on Netflix. I'm binge watching Modern Family at the moment on the final season, and I'm obsessed. I'm addicted, and I'm aware of that addiction, and I'm not doing anything to sort it out. So
it's a good show.
It is a really good show. Please no spoilers though. I'll actually chuck you out your window. No. I think another thing with working from home was also I found it really difficult to pick up the phone to call my colleagues because I didn't have that relationship with them where I could just call them up and be like, yeah, hello, you, how are you doing? It was just a bit, I just didn't know them like that. So
it's harder to get to know someone from behind the laptop screen.
Yeah, definitely.
Something to do and something I want to do when I move to my next seat is just introduce myself to everyone in the first week, like get those kind of personal connections developing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with that as well. Actually, that's a good tip. I might do that as well. I might send calendar invites to everyone in my team and be like, hello, it's me. Be super keen, but you know, it sets a good impression. So obviously now that we've completed our 6 months in our first seat, I just wanted to ask you, I guess a lot of people ask me this question about what is the process in your firm for selecting your next seat? What do you do?
So in my firm, we have a chat with graduate recruitment team and we basically set out our preferences. If we have any particular reasons, we can let them know of that, and then the process really hands over to grad rec and they basically look to take everyone's preferences into account as much as they can, but always balanced against the dreaded word, business need.
So mine's pretty similar as well, but I think one difference with me in this cycle was we were offered secondment opportunities as well, which I think when I was talking to quite a few people about it from other firms, they found quite rare. I think second seaters don't usually get offered secondments, but in my firm we did, and we have in-house secondments available. And I applied for 2 secondments, and the way I applied was you give in your CV and they said write a short paragraph on why you wanted to apply, but I was extra and I wrote a cover letter. And then after that we went to an interview. So the interview was either with the client partner or it was with the head of the legal team in that in-house secondment. And I applied for 2 of them and went through the entire process and then didn't get through. So that was that. Fantastic. We'll talk more about what our next seat was in the next part of this video. But I guess the actual process for applying for seats within the firm is very similar to yours. However, this time actually we didn't have the chat with grad recruitment. What grad recruitment did was they organised, I guess, virtual calls with representatives from the different practice areas, so one from, I guess, real estate or corporate, and they would just tell us about what they did. And then from then, grad recruitment gave us again a list of the practice areas that are available for us to train in for the respective offices that we are at. And then we just replied back to that email with our preferences listed. I put mine in like a numerical order, and then they get back to you and say which one you've got. So that was our process.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys. It sounds like you do it every seat. Like, do you choose your next ones in the future? Yeah. So
as in it's I haven't chosen my third and fourth seat yet.
So
no.
At our firm, I think they kind of picked up that, you know, the process does cause a lot of anxiety for trainees. So we have been told our seats for the whole rest of the training now. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think there's pros and cons.
What if it changes? What if you change your mind?
Exactly. Like, I think the con of it is that you might pick up on different things in your future seats, which make you think, oh, I actually am really interested in this area. So that is a downside of it.
Yeah.
But I think the upside is just getting that out of the way.
Done it now.
Like, I don't have to have that worry anymore until, I guess, qualification. But it's nice to have that, and I think it's nice to know what seat I'm going into after this one. I can, you know, maybe start building relationships with people in that team, start like looking out at what type of work they're doing and thinking a bit more about it. So yeah,
that's true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, every process is going to have its pros and cons. If you've gotten this far in the video, you're a real one, absolute legend. Give yourself a pat on the back. we are now going to reveal what our next seats are. Do you want to start?
Drum roll, please.
Yeah. Okay.
So my next seat is going to be in the personal injury department of my firm, and I'm going to be in the serious injury team.
Wait.
It's actually where I did my paralegaling.
Oh, okay.
So in a way, it's kind of like
Going
going
back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
It is exciting.
That is really cool. My one is real estate.
Oh, I'm just trying to do a drum roll for you.
Oh, you're so kind. Yeah, if you guys heard that, it's real estate. But specifically within real estate, it's called the developers and investors team. You ask, what is that about? I have no idea. I don't know. I'll find out. I'll do a video about it at some point. But it comes under the arch of real estate. And it's an area that I selected. I put that as my first choice, so I'm really glad that I got it. And I guess the reason why I selected it is because I've done paralegal work in real estate before. It was one of my favourite subjects on the LPC, so I'm really looking forward to seeing whether my enjoyment of it during the LPC reflects in practice as well. Right, so that is our seat reflections, and if you are a trainee solicitor and you're watching this video as well, let us know your future seat options. We would love to hear it. If you are an aspiring solicitor, hopefully this video has helped in providing a bit of an insight into what the process is like as a trainee solicitor. Okay, so that is the end of today's video. If you found this video helpful or you liked our content, please do check out Shannon's channel as well, and you can also find her on Instagram. I'll put both the links to both her channel and her IG in the comments below. That was fantastic how that was synced. That was amazing. My heart is full. Anyway, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that, you know the drill, and see you all in the next video.
Bye.